everyone has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. This visual aid basically is saying how can all these students be expected to take the same exam if they're all in different classes? That doesn't even make sense. Yes. Now moving on. The long-term anxiety, the affordability, and the distraction standardized testing has caused on this generation is insane. High schoolers should be focused on their future and enjoy their final years left as a teen. Without the SAT, more kids will be able to thrive in things they actually enjoy while excelling at the basic classes. Standardized testing is unnecessary and a roadblock for many teens in this generation.